So today we're talking about square and cubed roots of imperfect squares and cubes. Okay, so you have the radical sign, and remember when there's no number right there, it's just the radical sign like this. That automatically means that it's square root. Otherwise it will have an exponent next to it here on the outside to tell you how many times that number is multiplied by itself to get what's inside the bracket here. Okay, so if I am looking for the square root of 36, and I'll put a 2 there so you know you're doing 2. So your exponent is 2, so we're looking at something times something, and something times itself, right, is 36. So you're looking for the same number. Okay, you need to understand for something like this that your equation for this, which they're going to ask you for in a lot of questions, if I'm looking for the square root of 36, x squared equals the 36. Some number squared is 36. And when I'm getting the square root, I'm going to have an x equals. Okay, so the answer to the square root of 36 is what x equals. So a square is literally a square. The number on the inside of the bracket is the area of that square. And you should have done before, don't remember what grade level where we first taught this to you, that area of a square is the side squared. So you basically have side times side equals the area. So for our purposes, you can use an S if you want. A lot of times we use an X. So if the area is 36, and I get that number from in here, then I'm going to do one number times itself, which is why I'm using the same variable. So x times x is x squared, which is where this comes from. And when we do this multiplication, we get the area itself of this full square, which is 36. If I want to know what the length of the side is, because they gave me the area, I need to find the square root. In other words, what number times itself is 36, or the answer here. Okay, so in this case, we know it's 6 times 6. So 6 squared equals 36. So that means the square root of both sides, square root of 6 squared is 6, right? And the square root of 36 is 6. So it matches. So we know that we're correct. All right, sorry, that fly from today is buzzing my head right now. He wants to learn math too. All right, when we have cubed roots, let me write it over here. So if we have a cubed root, you are physically looking for a cube. And the lengths of the sides, so you have a length here, you have a length, so length times width times height. So you have one here, and it goes back here, so length and width, and then you have a height. This is volume when we're looking at this. So remember that volume of a cube is your side cubed. So this length of the side times itself 3 times, not times 3. So in this case, so let's say we were doing the cubed root of 125. Okay, I want to know what times itself 3 times equals 125. Okay, so that's what we're looking for. And this is actually a perfect cube. It's actually 5 times 5, which is 25, right? So think of $1.25. What do you have in here that's equal? You have 5 sets of 25, right? So 5 times 5 is 25, and 25 times 5, one more 5, is 125. Okay, so that's cubing it. Okay, so what we're going to do is we have to find them be able to find them by hand, because on our tests for SBAC and the district assessment, we are not going to be able to use a calculator to just plug it into there. You will learn how to use this with a calculator after we do those, or after we do this lesson with the district test. All right, so the first number line, like we talked about in class, is the x squared. So it's going to be the numbers the areas that we get. Okay, so this is the square root that I'm gonna do. Okay, and then these are the roots themselves, or the lengths of one side. So the first one, so let's say we want to find the square root of 84. Okay, so then I've got to look at what perfect square or area is before and after 84 in a number line. So that's when I have to start going 6 times 6, 7 times 7, 8 times 8, 9 times 9, 10 times 10. Okay, so when I square the numbers, these are the answers I get. And remember, this is the area of the square. Okay, 84. What is 84 in between? On the number line, it's in between 81 and 100. So that means I'm going to use 81 and 100. Okay, so we're going to go to the squared. Remember, these are squared numbers. These are the answers to squared numbers, so we're going to use these. So this is our range of the number line. So I have 81, and my range goes to the second one, which is 100. And my second one is what would be the length of the side, and that's going to be your base. What number did you multiply by itself? To get 81, you multiplied 9 times 9, so the base is 9, or the root is 9. And 100 is 10 times 10, so this is 10. So you're going to get questions that are on math problems that are going to ask you possibly what two numbers is the square root of 84 between? And when we're doing the square root, we're looking for the answer, we're looking for the side. So we're looking for these numbers when we say square root. So the answer to the square root of 84 is, what is it between? It's between 9 and 10. So the answer is going to be at least, so approximately equal to, because it's not going to be exact, 9 point something. Now this is where we're doing the estimating to get here. So what we need to figure out first, we know that halfway between 9 and 10 is 9.5. And so we need to figure out what's halfway between 100 and 81. So in class, remember, we did the average. So the average is to add these together and divide by the amount of numbers that you added together. So this is 181. And I apologize if this moves a little bit because I'm holding my phone with one hand and the paper's moving a little bit. All right, so 181, because it's 100 plus 81, and then we're going to take this and divide it in half. So when you're dividing, I have 1 M&M, how many sets of 2 can I make? 0. Okay, I have 18 M&Ms, how many groups? I can make 9. That's exactly 18, but I'm not done. This is 0, but I need to bring down my 1. How many groups can I make of 2 can I make with 1? None, right? Okay, and then I need to go again and put a 0 in here. So here's a point. So I'm going to bring this down. Now I have a 10. How many groups of 2 can we make out of 10 M&Ms? We can make 5. So 90.5 is your halfway point between the range of 81 to 100 on the number line. So if we were looking for the square root of 90.5, we would say our estimate would be 9.5 because it's in the middle of this range, and we would be very accurate with that, very, very close. But we're looking for 84. Okay, so 84 is below it. So let's look at how many numbers there are from here. So if I start counting up 82, 83, all the way up to 90, I would say, if I'm doing this correctly, there's about 9 numbers. This is 3, half of 9 is 4.5, so a fourth, or 0.25, right, is going to be here, right? 0.25 is going to be here, so this would be about 9.25, okay? So half of 9 is about 4.5, but we only went up 1, 2, 3 numbers. So I'm going to be below 9.25. So you want to really look at, okay, how close is it? It's probably pretty close. What could my estimate be? If you do 9.2, right? If you do 9.1, you might be a little off because that would be more toward here. You could also do, let's say, 9.15 and get it halfway in there, up to the 2. You might even think it's 9.3, so we could also estimate 9.3. Okay, but you don't want to go over 9.5. 9.4 probably be too high, but around 9.2-ish looks like is what it would be. And let's double check. So here we go. Here's our handy calculator. So if you have a calculator like mine, you actually would do the square number first and then the square root. So remember that we were doing 84 and we wanted the square root of 84. Since the square root is right here on the frame, that means, and it's the same color shift, that means we need the second level, because the first level, if I just press this, I'm going to square my number. So I'm going to press shift, and I don't need to hold it down, and see shift, it said shift in the corner, and then I hit the x squared button because it's going to give me the square root. And it's at about 9.165. So they're going to either tell you to round to the nearest tenth or to the nearest hundredth. If I round to the nearest tenth, I take the 6 and I round this 1 up to a 2. If I round to the nearest hundredth, I use this 5, which actually tells me to round this 6 up to a 7, and my answer would be about 9.17. So if you said that your answer was approximately 9.2 or even 1.5 or 0.15, you would have been extremely close. So these are reasonable answers, right? So the square root of 84, and remember, is approximately equal to, because it's not exact, about 9.17 if we do hundredths place. And this would be our answer. Okay, cubed roots are pretty much the same concept. I'm gonna turn this over. I'm gonna do something really close. Let's say I wanted 127. All right, and I want a cubed root. And I need to do this by hand, and I'm gonna need to do like 5 cubed, which I know from the other side is 125. And then if I do 6 cubed, that's 6 times 6, which is 36, times another 6. So it's 36 here, carry the 30 here, 18, 19, 20, 21, 216. Okay, so you do the same thing, but notice on a number line, let's just put it this way. Let's do a little one, 216, and we have a 125, and those are the exact ones. But 127's right here, and we're not even close to halfway. So right here, we also need to look at this. It's going to be between 5 and 6. So the cubed root before it is 5. So so this is 5 and this is 6. So it's approximately equal to, excuse me. It's approximately equal to 5 point something. And you're just so close. You could even put 1. You could even try 5.05. And let's go ahead and look at the cubed root. Excuse me. All right, so I need to do cubed root. So I need to look for my button. that has a 3 right there. And it's also that same color as the shift. So remember, on my calculator, I'm going to put this number in first. Then I'm going to hit shift. Then I'm going to hit, where'd it go? The plus minus button. And it's approximately 5.02. So we had estimated maybe like 5.1, 5.05. We're really close. It's closer to 5.02 or even 5.03 if we take this 6 and use it to round that to a 3. So that's how you're doing your cubed roots and your square roots. Do the best you can and bring your questions to class tomorrow.